Lesson 3.3. Today we're going to be talking about solving equations while using addition and subtraction. So last lesson we talked about making sure that equations are equivalent, talking about algebraic expressions and all that stuff. But now we're going to go ahead and solve for x and y and other variables by using these terms. The first term that we're going to be talking about is inverse operations. So in order to solve for x and things like that, we're going to have to do the inverse operations. And the reason why is because they're operations that undo each other. So later on, we're going to be talking a little bit more about this. But like an example would be like instead of adding 5, subtracting 5. So those two cancel each other out. If you ever want to get rid of a 5 or something like that, you just go ahead and subtract it off of one side and subtract it off the other. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in a second. Another thing we're going to need to know is what equivalent equations are, because we're going to be working with those and making equivalent equations. Equivalent equations are equations with the same solution. So it means that the variable is equal to the same thing. So in this equation, x minus or x plus 4 equals 7, the x is equal to 3, right? Because 3 plus 4 will give us 7. So x is equal to 3. And in this equation right here, it says x equals 3. So in both of these equations, x is equal to 3. So that is why they're equivalent, because they're equal to. Okay, the next thing we're going to need to know is the subtraction property of equality, which means that when you subtract the same number from both sides of the equal sign, the sides remain equal. So, for example, if you say 5 is equal to 5, if you decide you're going to subtract 3 from each side, our answer is going to be 2 equals 2. So even though 5 equals 5 and 2 equals 2 look different, they're still both equal equations. So they both equal each other. So if you subtract the same number from both sides, you're still going to have an equivalent expression. Okay, the next term we need to talk about is the addition property of equality, which is the same thing as a subtraction. It's just instead of subtracting from both sides, you can add to both sides and keep two equal equations. So for example, if you have 6 equals 6, you can go ahead and add 3 to both sides. So 6 plus 3 equals 6 plus 3, and you're going to get 9 equals 9. Now right now this doesn't make much sense to you, but in a second it will, because we're going to solve some equations using these properties and rules. So let's go ahead and do a few examples. Alright, let's go ahead and do a few examples. Our first example is x plus 14 equals 15. Now, right now it is saying that x plus 14 is equal to 15. So this side is equal to 15 and this side is equal to 15. Now we need to go ahead and solve for x. But I'm going to do this by using the subtraction property of equality. Because since there's an equal sign here, that means both sides of the equation needs to be equal to each other. So if I want to go ahead and solve for just x by itself, I need to go ahead and get rid of the 14. And in order to do this, I'm going to have to use the inverse operation of 14, so that 14 will be canceled out. So instead of adding 14 over here, I'm going to go ahead and take away 14, which will cancel this out. It will give me 0. And I'm going to go ahead and subtract 14 from this side. So my new equation looks like x equals 1. Now let's go ahead and check. Is x plus 14 equals 15 equivalent to x plus 1? So x is equal to 1. Does x equal 1 over here? Yes, because 1 plus 14 gives us 15. So that's how we know that we have found our answer. Our solution is x equals 1. Alright, let's go ahead and look at example number 2. We're going to do the same process because we want to solve for y. So it says 16 equals y plus 20. So this equation tells me that this side is equal to 16 and this side is equal to 16. And I know that because of this equal sign. So I'm going to go ahead and use the subtraction property of equality to cancel out what I don't want over here and cancel out over here so I can figure out what y is equal to. So if I want to get y by itself, I need to cancel out 20. So I'm going to subtract 20 over here and subtract 20 over here, and I'm still going to have two equivalent parts. So if I subtract 20 from 20, I get 0. So it's kind of like it's gone now. And then we need to go ahead and subtract 20 from 16, which is going to give us a negative 4. And I know it's a negative 4 because I'm taking away a bigger number than what I have. So that means that y is equal to negative 4. Okay, now in order to check ourselves, we have to go ahead and plug in negative 4 for y to see if it gives us the right answer. So negative 4 plus 20. So that means we'll have to take away 4 from 20 and we'll get 16, and our answer is correct. So our solution is y is equal to negative 4. Alright, number 3, let's go ahead and solve for k in this equation. It says k minus 25 equals 30. So in order to solve for k, I need to get rid of everything else that's on this side and take it away from this side as well so that we can keep a balanced equation. So, since I'm subtracting over here, I'm going to use the inverse operation, and instead of subtracting, I'm going to add 25 over here, and I'm going to add 25 over here. Now I can add it to both sides because of the addition equality property. Because if I add the same number to both sides, our equation is still going to be balanced. So if I take away 25 here, I'm going to get 0. And if I add 25 away from our negative 25, we're going to get 0. And if I add 25 over here, I'm going to get k is equal to 55. Now let's go ahead and check. Does k really equal 55? If I go ahead and plug 55 for k over here, I would have 55 minus 25. Does that give us 30? The answer is yes. So this is our solution. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the word problem. It says a video store sells a DVD for $12 more than it pays for it. If the selling price for a DVD is $19, write an equation to find the price they paid for the DVD. So basically, this video store, it buys DVDs, it adds $12 to the price so that they can sell it for a profit. So they're going to be making $12 off of every DVD. So it says that we need to write an equation. So I need to write some kind of equation. I see the numbers $12, I see $19, I see $12 more, which means we're going to be adding 12. So we're adding 12 to how much they pay for it. So we don't know what that is yet. So we're going to I'll make my, my variable p for how much you pay for the DVD. And then I'm going to go ahead and add 12. And then I'm going to get 19. Because this is the price I paid for the DVD, I add 12 onto it to get my selling price, which is $19. So now we're going to go ahead and solve for p to figure out how much they paid for it in the first place. So I see that I need to get p by itself. So I want to kind of get rid of this 12. So in order to do this, instead of a plus 12, I need to use a minus 12 because the inverse operation will cancel it out. So I'm going to subtract 12 over here, but I also have to subtract 12 over here because we have to keep our equation balanced. So the subtraction property of equality says that I can subtract the same number from both sides and I'll keep my equation equal, which is the goal. So if I take away 12 here, I have to take away 12 over here. This cancels out. And then 19 minus 12 is going to give us p is equal to 7. So if I go ahead and plug p back into the equation, so if I plug 7 in for p, are we going to get 19? Let's see, 7 plus 12 gives us 19. So our answer is correct. So our solution is p is equal to 7. Alright, make sure that you have all of your notes written down. Even the front side, so make sure you're writing down the terms and everything as well. Make sure that if you need to, rewind the video if some of this was a little bit confusing. Come with your questions tomorrow. But before you do that, go ahead and do a few questions on your own. Let's look at those real quick.
Alright, you have 5 problems to do tonight. Try to go ahead and solve for the variables for me. So number 1, we have w plus 4 equals negative 10. Number 2, you have n minus 8 equals 5. Number 3, you have r minus 4 equals negative 18. Number 4, x plus 10 equals negative 6. And number 5 is 16 plus z equals 14. Now remember, what you do to one side, you have to also do to the other. So if you're taking away a number, you also have to take it away on the other side. If you're adding a number, you also have to add it to the other side. Basically, you want to go ahead and get all of your variables by themselves so you can see what they're equal to. Good luck. Bring your questions with you tomorrow if you have them.